Good day, everyone. My name is Khwezi Mkonto.
And my name is Boago Motshegetsi. And we will be focusing on the right to freedom of speech and expression in the context of democracy and human rights in South Africa.
Starting off with the specific rights in the Bill of Rights that protect freedom of speech and expression. This is incredibly important as freedom of speech is fundamental to a healthy democracy, allowing citizens to voice their opinions and hold the government accountable. Section 16 of the Constitution of South Africa guarantees the right to freedom of expression, and this is part of the Bill of Rights within our Constitution. This section states that everyone has the right to freely express themselves in speech, writing, and images, and this right includes the freedom to receive and to impart information, ideas, and opinions, regardless of the medium through which these are communicated, whether in print, through the internet, or face-to-face. However, this right isn't absolute. It is subject to certain limitations, which are designed to balance it with the rights of others and protect the public interest. These limitations are set out in Section 16 of the Constitution and include propaganda for war, incitement of violence, hate speech, or speech that promotes harm or discrimination against others on the basis of race, ethnicity, gender, or other characteristics. For example, hate speech is particularly concerning in a country like South Africa, where historical injustices still affect communities. This is why, although the Constitution provides wide protection for free speech, there are limits to prevent speech that could harm the social fabric of our society or cause others to feel unsafe. These protections are crucial because they ensure that all voices are heard, but also ensure the rights and dignity of every individual, especially those who have historically been marginalized.
What is the Bill of Rights? I am sure that is the question you're asking yourself. Well, the Bill of Rights, whereby it is sometimes called Declaration of Rights, or a Charter of Rights, is a list of most important rights to the citizens of the country. It is often part of a country's constitution or laws, like in South African Bill of Rights, Chapter 2 of the Constitution, which guarantees fundamental rights and freedoms. The purpose is to protect those rights against infringement from public officials and private citizens. Government, institutions, and individuals all have the role in preventing and addressing human rights violations. Governments are primarily responsible for protecting and promoting human rights, while institutions and individuals contribute by just respecting and promoting these rights. That is all they have to do.
Moving on to one case in South Africa where the rights to freedom of speech was violated. Now, I want to highlight a case that starkly illustrates the violation of the right to freedom of speech in South Africa. The case of journalist Karima Brown in 2019. Karima Brown, a respected political editor and journalist at ENCA, was subjected to intimidation after she was accused by government officials of being biased and critical of the government's stance on certain issues. The violations stemmed from a campaign of harassment that aimed to silence a voice as a journalist, which directly undermines the freedom of expression. In this particular case, the right to freedom of speech was violated not only through direct threats to silence a journalist, but also through a public pressure designed to suppress critical viewpoints in the media. The South African government's response to such media pressures sparked a national conversation about the balance between freedom of speech and press freedom, highlighting the importance of independent media in a democratic society. This case reflects a broader issue where journalists, activists, and individuals who criticize the government or bring uncomfortable truth to light may face harassment or even legal action, which makes it harder to freely express opinions, especially if those opinions challenge powerful figures or systems.
When the Bill of Rights is not respected, it leads to human rights violation. Human rights violation occurs when governments, individuals, and institutions disregard or fail to protect the fundamental rights and freedoms. These rights include civil and political, economic, social, and cultural rights. There are various examples of human rights, and they are as follows: violation and abuse, whereby it could be police brutality; discrimination, whereby it could be racial, gender, or religious discrimination in employment, education, or housing; restrictions on freedom, whereby it could be limiting of freedom of speech, assembly, or association; and lastly, denial of basic needs such as education or essential services, and also withholding access to health care.
Moving on to the solutions, focusing on youth involvement and campaigns to spread awareness. Looking ahead, there are solutions we can explore to better protect freedom of speech and to educate young people on these important issues. One of the most effective ways to promote freedom of expression, especially among the youth, is through campaigns that not only raise awareness but also provide platforms for young voices to be heard. For instance, youth-led campaigns can address issues like hate speech and censorship while emphasizing the importance of responsible speech. Social media platforms offer incredible tools for the youth to share information, and when combined with educational programs, these platforms can be used to promote positive messages around freedom of expression. We could look at initiatives like debate clubs or youth forums where young people can practice speaking freely about societal issues in a respectful and productive manner. These initiatives could be amplified by educational campaigns about the value of free speech, its limitations, and how to engage in constructive dialogue. Furthermore, campaigns that encourage critical thinking and media literacy are vital. In today's world, social media can spread false information or inflammatory content that often incites violence or hate. By equipping young people with the tools to think critically about what they see and hear, they will be better positioned to use their right to freedom of speech responsibly. Through such initiatives, we can build a generation that understands the weight of their words and actions and can actively contribute to the national discourse without fear of persecution.
Moving on to why some individuals do not report violations of rights. It is said that some individuals do not report violations of rights, such as their right to speech and expression, due to a combination of factors such as lack of understanding of their rights, whereby individuals tend to not be aware of nuances of freedom of speech, including what constitutes a violation and what remedies are available, and another factor which is a fear of retaliation. And it is like when a victim reports a violation, there are some negative consequences such as social harassment or illegal action against the reporter. Additionally, societal pressures and a reluctance to get involved can also play a role in individuals not being able to report violation.
Lastly, our last point, our recommendations on what more can be done to address this topic in South Africa. Finally, my partner and I strongly believe that it is essential to strengthen protections for freedom of speech in South Africa and to address any form of violation that infringes on this fundamental right. Our recommendation is that we need more education and awareness programs that explicitly teach young South Africans about their rights under the Bill of Rights, particularly the right to freedom of expression. We also recommend that the government takes stronger action to support independent media and to hold accountable those who attempt to stifle free speech, whether through direct censorship or through indirect means like harassment and intimidation. Additionally, laws against hate speech need to be vigorously enforced, but in a manner that does not encroach on legitimate freedom of expression. Finally, we believe that youth involvement is key. As the next generation of South African leaders, we need to be involved in conversations about our rights and the responsibilities that come with them. This involvement could come in the form of youth advisory consults to the government or even youth representation in national debates that focus on freedom of speech, press freedom, and media responsibility. Through these solutions and recommendations, we can move forward as a society that not only upholds the Constitution, but also ensures that the values of democracy, equality, and human dignity are always protected. Thank you.